Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. I'm Bam, Product Marketing Manager, joined today with Italo, our Senior Solutions Engineer.
Hi, Bam. How are you?
Good. Today is another exciting topic. Our webinar will be about integrating webhooks and real-time events with your tech stack, from dashboards to engagement. A little bit about our agenda today. We will talk about an overview of webhooks and push notification integrations, use cases of integrating webhooks and real-time events, and a live demo of configuring a webhook to trigger automated email notifications. And lastly, we'll end with best practices. So before we dive into use cases of webhook or best practices, let's quickly cover what a webhook is and how it fits into the bigger picture. Webhook events are a powerful way to extend Social Plus beyond the core platform. So it lets your system receive real-time updates the moment something happens, whether that's user posting, joining a community, reacting to content, or flagging a comment. So once that is enabled, these events are instantly pushed to your backend so you can plug them into your existing tools and workflows. It's a lightweight, flexible way to connect Social Plus activity to the rest of your stack without polling or using API or causing any delays of information. So essentially, what can you do with it, right? What you can do with webhooks once you plug those into your own systems and workflows are actually endless. As an example, that could be real-time analytics, where you build custom analytics, dashboards, and track user engagement patterns, or content moderation, where you build automated message moderation and user management systems with push notifications, as well as search and personalization, where you can create custom search and personalization based on real user activity. And overall, just creating almost any integration with external systems and build custom workflows. And you may think, what is the difference between webhook and API, right? When using an API, you're basically making requests to receive a response or data. And webhooks are just a reverse API, where as soon as something happens, data is sent to you automatically. So simply put, you can think of API as you calling a store asking if they've stocked up an item you've been looking for, and a webhook is when the store calls you once that piece is available. And when you're thinking of use cases, thinking about how to use webhooks, it helps to have a framework. So we have three main buckets that you can stick by to when you're thinking about, okay, what kind of connections can be made. First is dashboards. Webhooks are essentially observability feeds, that is using webhooks to stream user activity into analytics. Second is personalization, basically context enricher, using real-time events to enrich user profiles. And lastly, engagement, where you're using events as triggers for action like emails, notification, and so on. So let's look at what that actually looks like in practice. For a dashboard, let's imagine you're a product team at a language learning app. You use Social Plus to power community conversations, but your core analytics live somewhere else. So you can use webhooks to connect those engagement data into your analytics stack. As for personalization, let's imagine you're building a fan loyalty app. As users join different fan channels, follow creators, or reacting to posts, you use those real-time events to update their profile. So that could mean better targeting, smarter activity feed, or personalized notifications. And the last bucket, engagement, let's say you're running a fitness coaching app. So when a user's post gets flagged or their comment sparks replies, that event triggers an automated action. So maybe a coach gets notified instantly, maybe a user gets a batch automatically, or there's a progress message sent to your user's inbox. So overall, this is an overview of what a webhook is and some use cases that you can use as inspiration. Now I'll pass on the mic to Italo to give us a demo of how to make webhooks connection.
Yes, sure. Let me share my whole screen so that we can give it a look. So, as you mentioned, Bam, and I'll start with this first image, webhook events are the diverse set of events that you can receive based on the actions that are being triggered. So, for example, here you can see the different webhook events that we support. We have over 80 types of events. As you can see, each one of them will send a notification, or let's say like an event, to your backend based on the action so that you can receive it, and based on that decide if you want to pass it for data analytics as the dashboard case that you mentioned. You can do it also for recognition of information, for having an extra database, or for having real-time updates, and for engagement purposes. That could also help with notifications and so on. So this is like the first step. Now, considering the amount of webhooks that we have, the thing here is you need to have a receiver. So usually you will need to have a webhook URL, which will receive all these events through your backend. For that purpose, you will need, first of all, to go to our console. As you can see here, we're in our console from Social Plus site. Eventually, if you decide to have a trial with us, you will be able to access it and have a look. And we have a part that's called webhook. Here, you can add a webhook URL, as you can see in my examples. So this webhook URL is something that you will need to provide with your developer team. So it's something that once you have it ready, you can put it here and then you will receive the event. Now, how does this work? Let's go to the practice of this case. I already have a code here. This is a Flask API, something very straightforward, just for receiving the events that Social Plus or us, we will send to this webhook URL every time a user does an action. So in this case, you can see that I'm using Flask. I'm doing it on Python. The root is pretty simple. I do not specify anything else, but if you want, you can clarify which is the correct root that it should have. Like, for example, let's say webhook, things like that. This one will be added into your URL once you have it. You'll see the method that it's based on the request data that we're going to receive directly from our event types in Social Plus. And in my case, as you can see, I have put a logic in which I want to detect that if a post gets flagged, then an action will be triggered. First of all, I'll gather this information, and then I will call what in my case, it's called a send email wrapper, which is calling another file, which is send email, and create Jira ticket, which is another file, which is create Jira, which if the content gets flagged, then I will receive sort of a notification to my email and I will create a Jira ticket. For this demo, we will see until the email so that you can see how this integration worked and how you can post this information. Finally, but not less important, in this case for this is for local environment testing and so on. Remember to specify the port. If you do not put the right port and then you try to run it, then you might get bad gateway because the information is not passing through the right, let's say, path that you have defined. Now, let's run it. Once we run the webhook, we need to wrap it within an HTTPS structure. This is because our console usually works with security details, so we will need something like that. As we're in a local environment and we need to generate this type of, let's say, receiver, I will use ngrok. As I will go to my terminal here, you can see I already have ngrok style. ngrok is a free type of mechanism or feature which helps you wrap your local host into an HTTPS from your computer so that you can test it out with the security levels that you will have on an HTTPS type of domain. So let's imagine here that I do it. As I mentioned before, it's very important to define the path. If I define it as 5000, as I specified previously on my code, we will receive a new HTTPS URL, like this one, which you will need to add into the console. If we go to the console and I put add new webhook, we can put it here. Now this new webhook has been added. Now to test it out, and let's do just one easy example, I'll go to this community called Talk Lane. And let's imagine I want to do something like this. I want to create a simple post. Hey everyone, nice to see you. Really happy face. Now let's try to create a post. As you can see, the post was created from our console. Now let's see what happens on the side of the webhook URL. As you can see on this part, particularly speaking, we will receive an event which should come right now. Give me 1 second, please. I will double check if the webhook was uploaded correctly. If not, I will just delete some of them. Try it again from here. Okay. Now it's done. Now let's try it again. I'll go to the community. Then I'll go to Night Owl. And I'll try to create a particular post. As I mentioned, once you create a post and you put something like this, hey, nice day. As we already defined everything and the path is created and we already added the webhook URL, you'll see that the post got created. Now, if we go directly here, before we had an issue that we received as forbidden, now it should be passing directly. Okay, we're getting an error because of the path. Let me check. This is a good example of what might be happening. So just to correct it. So let's imagine I will try to run it on another port. Put it port 6000. And I'll go here. And then let's do 6000. The response of forbidden gateway shows that it is not reaching to the right path that I have defined. So there's an issue there. This usually happens when you're trying to do the test on your local environment. Once you deploy it in a full real level environment, this shouldn't happen, but it is important to have this in mind. Now let us put the new one. And then let's try it again. This time it should work as specified. So let's imagine I put something like nice day to all, happy face, and then we create a post. Now you can see that we did receive the 200 OK. This means that it reached the right gateway. This is because of the path. Now, if we go to the terminal, which I already put in the part of my code, as you can recall, I put print the requested data, you'll see the event that we received. And as you can find out here, the received webhook event is based on data directly, and here you'll see the action. The action is post did create. So a post was created by a user. Pretty straightforward. So regardless of the scenario, you are able to see the details. And as you saw before, if the path is wrong, you will see the code error for bad gateway. This is mentioned in the direct code. So now let's imagine that we go to the case of the did flag. As you saw before, we already tested with how we receive information from a post being created. Now let's go for the post did flag with integration for the email. So in this case, as you will see, I already have the webhook event already added. And this time I want, if a content gets flagged, I want to see it appearing as a notification in my email or like an email directly. So let's imagine I go to this post and I want to report it. If I report it, you'll see directly, let's go through the whole path. You'll see that there's a 200 OK. And then you'll see that the webhook event was received, posted flag. So now, for example, I will be able to receive an email, as you will see message ID. The other create to issue is for the Jira ticket, which we're not going to test right now. And if I go to my email, we should be able to receive an email saying that a post got flagged. As you can see, you'll see these details. New post flagged, a new post has been flagged in the community. Here are the details. You have the post ID, the community ID, the post content, that was flagged, and well, this type of things can be customized about what you want it to say so that your moderation team or other users can take action. This is pretty straightforward and one of the many use cases you can have. As you have this one for flagged posts, you can also have it for comments, for posts created, or even for a post created by a particular type of user, maybe an influencer, maybe a moderator, things like that. So this tool is pretty powerful for the part of integrations as we are showing right now. So this was just a quick demo of what you can see and gather based with our webhook events. I hope that this demo has been very explanatory. Coming back to you, Ban.
Thank you so much, Italo. That was so comprehensive and goes to show how you can actually make webhooks connection, right? Before we drop off, I'd like to go through quickly some of these practices that you should keep in mind when it comes to creating these webhook events. First of all, it's security. Verify the source of where you're connecting your webhooks to and protect your data integrity. When you think of performance, webhook endpoints should be fast and non-blocking. And when it comes to scalability, should plan for spikes, but also for success to handle both scenarios. Lastly, user experiences, real time should feel meaningful and not noisy. So overall, these are some of the best practices when you think of making some webhook connections and push notification. And yeah, that's all we have for today. I hope this session was insightful. And if there's any question, feel free to reach out to any one of us or any of our team today. I guess we can wrap up today. Italo, anything else to add
Thank
on your end?
No, from my side, I think webhooks are a powerful tool because of the ability that you have for receiving all the type of events that we support. And you can also, as I showed you, you will have them on your side so you can have them for triggering other type of parties. You can connect with other systems and you will have as main orchestrator your own backend. So this is something very powerful, which will help you align with what you require. If you're going more into the analytics part, or if you want to have something more personalized, with different integrations with different tools. This is pretty powerful, especially as we also have APIs so that you can trigger from your side when you receive webhooks from the other integrations to our side. I will say that's most of it.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all your time today. You too, Adilo.
Thank you very much, Bam. Thanks, everyone.